Alright, hello. Welcome to take number 99 of this video. These are my credentials here, in case you guys want to see. I haven't played in this account in a while, but this is my rank for this account. But that's not the point of the video. Today what we're going to be talking about is balance, and why I think Riot sometimes has a hard time pinpointing or like locking down the champions that should be nerfed and how they should be nerfed. And basically I think the main problem is just community feedback, because obviously, especially now with Mark Yetter like tweeting stuff out, they get a lot of feedback, but I was surprised to see like the main thing that stood out for me in this patch was this Zed nerf right here. And my impression of this was like, what the fuck did Zed do to deserve this nerf? Like what? Like huh? And I feel like everyone around my rank had like a very similar reaction to reading this, but that wasn't like the community reaction to it. The majority of the community had like an opposite reaction. They were saying like, the Zed nerf is such a joke, like what is this? Like they wanted to see Zed get like nerfed to the ground for no reason. And the thing is, like, Zed isn't even strong right now. So I started to think like, what's happening here? Like why is the balance team randomly nerfing Zed, and why is the community like thinking that Zed needs a nerf in the first place? And I wrote it down here. Basically the problem is that most of the community, like 99% of the community, just doesn't know what they're talking about when it comes to like making the game completely fair, because there's certain things that are broken in certain ranks, right? And like I think especially what came to mind was like, if you ask the average player, which like the average player I think is something like 50% of the community is like gold or below. I think maybe it's even more. But the thing is, like, if you ask gold elo what they think is OP for mid lane, the overwhelming majority will just list you these champs. They'll say Zed, Talon, Fizz, LeBlanc, Cassidon. They'll say these champs have negative counterplay and there's nothing they can do to beat these champs, and they're too strong, too OP. Let's have their brain that OP like S++++ tier for 50 patches in a row. And the thing is, like, if you ask people at like the high levels, at least for this patch right now, patch 1021, they'll give you a list like this. Right now what's broken is Lucian, Tiev, Zoe, Gallia, Rumble, and Syndra. Some people might put Syndra here with like maybe Silas, Ori. But I think just because of the cooldown of Q, as long as the jungle remains kind of even, like the jungle situation remains kind of even for mid lane, I think Syndra is definitely a level above these champs. But yeah, the problem is that the players in gold still haven't found a way to lane against any of these champs. They haven't found a way to punish them, or to like punish their weaknesses, right? And because of that, they think that these assassins are OPAF. And assassin players can do very well maybe at this rank, right? But the problem there isn't that the champ is unfair or that it doesn't have balanced counterplay or weaknesses, right? The problem is that gold players are bad against these champs because they haven't learned how to play versus them. And I think every single one of these champs, with the exception of Talon, like, any Grandmaster mid will just tell you that all these champs are dog shit tier. Like, there isn't a single one of these champs that can beat these champs right here. I'd say with the exception of Syndra. Yeah, I mean, I'd say with the exception of maybe Syndra. There's not a single one of these champs that can beat any of these champs. In fact, the only thing that can beat these champs is like another champ in the same tier, basically. That's what makes them OP. I'd say, although I'd say like Talon, some people would say it's not dog shit tier, but all the others, like, if we just take away Talon, these first 4 champs are definitely dog shit tier at this level. And the thing that makes Talon strong, by the way, is just his E. The speed of his roam is too fast for like other people to be able to respond. It's kind of like Hold early in Soul. And even later on in the game, like, he can get away from situations where like literally no other champ gets away, just because he can E through like 10 walls in a row. So I'd say even then, like, what makes Talon OP isn't what Gold Elo thinks makes him OP. Like, it's not like, oh shit, his level 2 all-in, like, nah. Or like his mark or anything. It's literally just his E. If they removed the E from Talon, then he wouldn't be as OP. But I guess I'm straying away from the point. I'll just put commas here. But the point is, these champs right here, all the assassins that destroy Gold Elo or Plat Elo or Silver or wherever, even Diamond, like, the point is that these champs have weaknesses. It's just that most of the community, most of the player base, still hasn't learned how to play versus them. But these champs right here that are OP at the highest level, they have very little, and some of them have pretty much like 0 weaknesses / counterplay. They're too one-sided basically, and the only way for you to beat these champs in most matchups is, like I said, if you pick one of the other champs, or if the other guy like completely messes up, or he's just like completely outclassed. But if there isn't that big of a gap between players, these champs have very little / no counterplay. Whereas these champs do, it's just that Gold Elo doesn't know how to play against them. So I just think Riot should, in balancing a game in general, like a competitive game, it should be balanced around giving everything fair weaknesses. And like, even if Gold Elo permanently loses to like Blitz mid or like Yumi mid, because they might not like know how to play against them for whatever reason, right? Or maybe it's another champ. I don't know what's a good example, but like, let's say Gold Elo perma loses to Soraka mid. Like, does that really mean that the champ is unfair or like unbalanced in mid lane? And so that's what I think. I think just like, they just need to ignore what most of the community thinks is OP, and they should just ask the players at the highest level, so that everything has more fair counterplay and it's more in an even level playing field. Because usually the top 3 to 5 champs in mid lane don't really have counterplay. It's just most of the community can't play them well enough, so they think assassins are just perma OP for like 10 years. Kek W.